I got to tell you this. It's funny. So leading up to the RNC, we're writing our speech and we're going through it, and we're editing it internally, all of us, great team, and we submit it to the RNC, the folks. I think we submitted probably a week prior, and we submit the speech, and some of the underlings in the RNC didn't like what we had to say.
I bet.
And so they wanted to change it, modify it, and everything else. And we took a position. I took a position. Well, I'm not going then.
That's the way, right there.
So we reached out to Susie Wiles and told her, look, we are not modifying this speech. And she's like, I don't think you should. She says, why don't you call DJT and tell him? So I called him on his cell phone and I said, listen, they want us to modify this speech. He goes, I haven't seen it. He goes, I don't give a shit what you say. Do whatever you want, Sean.
Oh, come on.
So 100% true.
Oh, I believe.
So when we went there, I mean, obviously we were there.
I can hear him saying that.
Yeah. So he's like, actually said, say whatever the fuck you want to say. That's exactly what he said. And when we went there, it was great. It was a home run. And I think, part of the thought process from the Republican side was, look, if we get the general president of the biggest, strongest union in the country, that's going to signal to every working person that how committed, the Republican Party is, the opportunity the Republican Party has to prove that they want to represent American workers. Listen to them.
That is a window into what Trump is actually like. That's why I'm laughing, because it's just so perfect. And whatever you think of that, I happen to love it, but that is never done in politics. You never get a candidate say whatever you want.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was hilarious. But conversely, we asked to go to the DNC at the same time. And and we know that if we ever submitted that speech to the DNC, they would have shit a brick. They would have been horrified. Because the people that we were talking about, the corporate elitists and everybody else, those are the people that the Democrats have fallen in love with. Those are the people they serve instead of the middle class the way it used to be 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So we know that we would have got tremendous pushback.
Did you go? I'm sorry, I don't even know. Did you go to the Democratic?
No, we didn't get invited.
That is great. That's even a bigger story than speaking at the RNC, is not getting invited to the DNC.
Yeah, well, that was the vindictive side of the Democratic Party. And I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to call balls and strikes. They haven't done shit for us. And when we didn't get invited, it's a funny story because 2 weeks prior to us speaking at the RNC, we didn't hide from the fact that we were going to speak there. Listen, I tell everybody all the time, if I get a venue to highlight how valuable our organization is, the Teamsters Union, to the entire country, I will take any and all venues to do that.
Good.
So 2 weeks prior to that, Chuck Schumer asked me to meet with him. And I meet with him, and he wants $550,000 for the super PAC for the Senate races. No problem. And I said, look, I'm speaking at the RNC. He's like, oh, great job. That's good. You should represent your members. Day after I give that speech at the RNC, he gets on Twitter and starts talking shit about my speech. Remember who fixed your pensions? And I'm like, this guy's a fucking joke. Like, why would you do this? Two weeks prior, you're telling me when you're taking a $550,000 super PAC check, that's great. It's great for your members. That's good. And then you want to get on Twitter like a tough guy and, throw
Why
shit
didn't
out
he just
there.
call you?
Well, because they don't like confrontation. They don't want to hear the truth.
So is Christmas really about buying stuff? You'll be forgiven if you assumed it is, because that's the message you receive. But most people sense deep down there may be a little bit more to Christmas. Maybe this is the time of year to focus on growing your relationship with God, to remember there is a God, and reach out to that God. Well, to do that, you can check out Hallow, the Hallow app, and its Advent Pray 25 challenge. Hallow is the world's #1 prayer and meditation app, and for good reason. It's amazing. It's fantastic. We use it. We're proud to use it. This Advent, we highly recommend you join Hallow's prayer challenge, For God So Loved the World. Boy, that'll put meaning in your Christmas for sure. You've got spiritual stories, reflections, musics, testimonies. It's really well done. You're not going to get it anywhere else in as easy a form. Just go to Hallow, download it, and bam, it's right there. So this is an opportunity to be transformed by God this Christmas. Don't wait. Get there. 3 free months right now when you sign up at hallow.com/Tucker. My wife comes home and tells me all about it every day. Spend this Christmas working on something that matters, your relationship with God. Maybe the only thing that matters. We hope you will. Hallow.
When he said, we fix your pensions, that gave me an opportunity to say, you're the same guy in the same party that 40 years ago embraced, endorsed, and signed off on deregulation in the trucking industry, which we lost 400,000 jobs in 1980. Ted Kennedy put the bill forward. Joe Biden signed off on it as a senator or as a representative. And
no, senator.
Yeah, senator, right? So they said, we fixed your pension. And I said, yeah, you did fix a pension. And I use this scenario all the time. I'm like, I played street hockey in my neighborhood, 1980. I broke my mother's window. For 40 years, she's asked me to fix her window. And I finally fix it 40 years later. Should I look for accolades for a problem that I helped create?
Yeah.
And so we went back and forth. It even got to a point, he showed up at our building prior to the election. And we had a bipartisan meeting in the hallway of the IBT. And it was attended by a lot of Republican senators, a lot of Republican congressmen. Because look, our goal is to work across the aisle to solve problems.
Yeah.
He walks in with his, the Capitol Police who do a great job, walks in late, and he sticks his crooked finger in my face. And he says, I fixed your pensions. I said, you should have. You broke them. And we get into it pretty hard. And, he starts like yelling at me. I go, buddy, listen, there's only one guy that can yell at me. We buried him 12 years ago. I go, you want to get into this right here, right now? We'll get into it.
You're talking about your dad.
Yeah, I'm talking about my dad, right? And so Schumer's like, we fixed your pension. I'm like, yeah? I'm going to name the things you haven't done for us. When our members were on strike at the rail, you didn't support us. You didn't put a letter of support in there. When we were fighting with UPS in the middle of the street, you wouldn't sign off on a support letter. When we took on Amazon, which we're taking on now, you wouldn't support our efforts in Amazon. I said, you want me to keep going? Because you can tell me what you've done, the one thing you've done for me and my union and my members, but I'm going to tell you all the things you haven't done for us. And then, he's like, well, I really want this relationship. I'm like, we're done. We're done. And that was it. He left.
Wow.
And then I'm working out at the building on election day. This is great. And look, I'm not a person that says, I told you so, or whatever the case is. He called, my phone rings. There's only two people that call me from a private line. Sometimes it's a commander-in-chief and someone else. So phone rings and I answer it. And it's Chuck Schumer. And like dejected tone. It was, hi, Sean. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He goes, good, Chuck Schumer. I'm like, okay, what do you want? It's like, I just want to thank you for supporting, the super PAC. I go, that was like 4 months ago. And he says, well, yeah, I just want to thank you. And I'm like, okay, great. It was like a dejected tone. And I was like, I got off the Stairmaster and I'm like, this is crazy. But it is what it is.
Why was he doing that, I wonder?
I have no idea. No idea.
Do you think he knew they were going to get creamed?
Oh, I think he knew they were getting crushed that day.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how people, so astute, been around so long in politics, couldn't see that coming.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.